So one of YouTube's supervillains decided to pop back in here on YouTube for the first time in literally years at this point, and I say literally because it's something that he's well known for saying, but LeafyIsHere decided to come back and make a video today, which honestly, I think was kind of a surprise to everybody on the community when we first heard the announcement from Keemstar that Leafy was planning to respond to iDubbbz over the entire OnlyFans drama, considering there's been so many things that have happened over the last few years that Leafy could have definitely came back on and made videos on, and he just never chose to. But this is the specific time in which he decided he was going to come by and drop a video. Now, the video itself was only like 35 seconds long. It wasn't really even, I would say, a video, and honestly, it was weird because, number one, the majority of it was literally just a clip of iDubbbz talking, and then he basically calls him a cuck and has one sentence and the video's over. And then number two, because we're talking about a YouTuber who had millions of subscribers, probably made a boatload of money, like a ridiculous amount of money, and then in his video there was constantly the little like Sony Vegas watermarks popping up across it from where he had the trial version.
For those of you who are unaware of the drama I recently brought upon myself, I'll fill you in. My girlfriend started an OnlyFans account, which is a website where you can upload amateur porn. Anything from double penetration all the way over to lewd cosplay and everything in between. And I think all of it is cool. Yeah, I know.
Dude, you're a fucking cuck.
But nevertheless, Leafy decided he was going to jump back into the swing of things, at least for one video, because if you don't know, iDubbbz content copped him a really long time ago at this point, back in like 2016. It's pretty much one of YouTube's most iconic videos of all time, I would say at this point. Recently was taken down because of quote-unquote harassment and YouTube's bullshit policies, but he quote-unquote bullied a lot of people in his videos. That's pretty much the most common complaint about a lot of his videos, is how mean he was towards some of the people in the videos. He's kind of like the golden boy of the old, CSGO surf gameplay commentary, things like that. And even like a month before this, people were constantly wondering if Leafy was ever going to make a comeback. Now, this comeback, I'm not going to lie, was a little bit stagnant. It didn't really provide anything. And in reality, I would hardly even call it a comeback. I mean, the only reason I would really consider this a comeback from Leafy is because he at least put something up on his channel. But in terms of a full-on response, that's what I was kind of hoping for. And I think a lot of people were hoping for. When we heard that Leafy was going to formally respond to this entire thing and make a video about it, we all kind of expected like the old 14-minute reply where he just kind of rants about the whole situation and maybe tries to actually make a point about iDubbbz, but that's not what he went with at all. And as a matter of fact, weirdly enough, he started with hundreds of thousands of views and then like 2 hours later decided he was going to take the video down. So now, of course, I think this kind of opens up the railway for conversation on whether or not he's actually going to make a full-fledged comeback. And that's kind of what I want to talk about going forward in this video, because like him or hate him, Leafy is probably one of the most influential YouTubers of all time. I mean, like I said, the impact that he's had on the commentary community and, of course, now the YouTube guidelines, I mean, there's not really many other people, except for people like iDubbbz, who've done something like that, who've garnered such attention that an entire community looks at this kind of content and goes one way or the other. I mean, Leafy in a lot of ways really, I guess, is the front runner slash OG YouTube feeling in 2016. I mean, it's hard to bring up older YouTube, especially around that time period, without saying someone like Leafy. And so is he ever going to make like a full-on comeback? Well, I think that there's a lot of factors surrounding whether or not he's actually ever going to make a full-on comeback. The first one is, of course, whether or not he wants to. Now, in previous interviews and things like that, Leafy has talked about how he's basically moved on from YouTube in a lot of ways. He doesn't see it as something where he needs to make a shit ton of money, or he just wants to constantly pump out videos every single day for his own enjoyment or for other people's enjoyment. He's apparently been invested a lot into the stock market, which recently, the last couple, I don't know, month or so hasn't been too hot for it. But if we're being honest, Leafy doesn't need to financially return to YouTube in any way. I mean, he's not invested, I guess, into the whole YouTube lifestyle anymore. It's not like he needs to make a video a day to live or to make money. He's probably made so much money off of YouTube that he could probably be viable, if not for the rest of his life, for an extremely long time. And if he is smart with his money like he, I guess, suggests that he is, well then, he pretty much doesn't really have a problem, so. Now, if he wants to, of course, he could come back pretty much any time that he wanted to and just get tons of views. I mean, this was proven literally by today's little escapade. Within like 90 minutes, he had 400,000 views, which is pretty goddamn good on YouTube, you know? That's a pretty elite amount of viewership coming in the first hour or 2 hours, and obviously as time goes on and he gets back into the whole swing of things, you know, that's not going to constantly be the thing probably, but it's not really a question of viability. I mean, he could come back if he wanted to. Now, the real question of viability comes with YouTube's policies and things like that. Could he realistically ever make a comeback here on YouTube? Well, the thing about that is he has inadvertently influenced a lot of the policies that YouTube has released after 2016. So from like 2017 onward, a lot of the policies are centered around things that, well, Leafy just simply couldn't get away with anymore. Now, not to say that every single change YouTube has been making in terms of harassment, bullying, and their other policies based on protecting people are all realistically responses to Leafy, but there are definitely a few that if they weren't directly involved with his channel is one of the great examples as to what that policy entails. So of course he would be demonetized, and once again, it's not like he needs, you know, all this money coming from YouTube in order to survive or anything, but in reality, I mean, monetization is now such a huge part of YouTube. As much as YouTube tries to deny that your videos don't get inadvertently affected by being demonetized, pretty much all the evidence I've ever seen personally and from other channels that have shared their information seems to indicate that that is the case. For instance, let's say your video doesn't get demonetized for 4 hours, you'll notice that there's a very noticeable trend in how that video falls off literally the minute that it gets demonetized. I mean, you can go back to the exact time frame in which the demonetization email or anything was sent to you, compared to the analytics, and instead of like a huge spike in viewership, that moment it literally just flattens out and just cuts off. So if Leafy wanted to actually come back and give it a shot here on YouTube, if he wasn't getting smacked by the policy updates and getting his videos age restricted, removed, anything like that, he would find it pretty hard to grow his channel a lot more than what it already has. And I mean, not necessarily like he would need to grow much more, he has millions of subscribers, but part of the YouTube ecosystem and the YouTube creator's mentality is you constantly want to grow your channel regardless of how big it is. I mean, I have 500,000 subscribers and I hope that this is absolutely nowhere near the end for my channel. I'm hoping that I can get the most amount of people watching my content as possible. And of course, Leafy would probably want the same thing too. So when it comes down to those two things constantly affecting you and affecting how your videos can be output, affecting whether or not people can see them, someone like Leafy and Leafy himself would probably have a lot of trouble, I guess, getting through those kinds of roadblocks. Now, Optimus, bro, what if he wants to just come back and make videos for the sake of it and just doing it and not caring about the views? Well, that would be great, and he could totally pull that off. Once again, it's not a question of viability in terms of can he do it, it's can he do it and not get caught or sniped or anything like that. Personally, if Leafy decided to come back and start making videos, I wouldn't care. You know, it's his channel and things like that. I'm not too upset about what he does. If people want to criticize what he's put up, you know, that's a fair thing to do. And if people think that he's the greatest YouTuber of all time, that's also fair. But to pretend like if a Leafy comeback didn't happen, that the commentary community would be the exact same is just crazy to think. I mean, a Leafy comeback would be huge for the commentary community, where there's so many different aspects of what people are doing and things like that. And of course, a lot of people already get dubbed like a Leafy clone, but I mean, if he came back and started doing what he was doing in 2016, there would be a seismic shift in the YouTube landscape. I mean, I don't know how many of you remember how YouTube was back in 2016, where you had all these people who were making these kinds of videos. It was a crazy time for commentary channels, and if something like that came back around and YouTube's supervillain, as we'll call him, came back around, then shit would get real very quickly, and it would be honestly a lot more interesting here on the platform. We're living in a weird timeline, man. Never really expected for Leafy to ever make another video, but if he does decide to come back around and keep doing it, then that would be pretty crazy, and honestly, I would be pretty excited to see the outcome of what happens, so thank you guys for watching the video, though. If you did enjoy, make sure to leave a like, subscribe if you're brand new around here on my channel, follow me over on Twitter at @SubToOptimus. Make sure to check out Shop Opti down below, lots of great things going on down there. Check out OpTube as well. Thank you to my channel members, your support helps my channel tremendously, and well, until my next video, guys, this is Optimus, watching Leafy's video, and signing out.